Hey ladies, it is 20 after 10 Pacific time on Thursday, May 9th, and I was gonna just record a video, but I figured, shit, like, let's see who's up and wants to chat and have a conversation. My roommate is asleep, so I'm not talking super loudly, so I apologize if the sound on this is not killer. You might want to turn your volume up or maybe do headphones. But yeah, here we are. So I had a couple of things that I wanted to cover. The first thing I was going to do is my shameless plugs for my bitches in group that have supported me and group since day one. And the first person I want to talk about is Sunny. You know her, you love her. If you don't know her and you don't love her yet, she is the co-admin on this group, and she has her own group and has had it for quite some time. I have posted about it here, so I highly recommend you check it out. It's called Choice Driven Life. It is a private closed group, so you'll have to request to join. And she has, as of recently, decided to charge a membership fee, which is very nominal and I think very appropriate for not only the content that she posts, the quality of said content, but more specifically, the one thing about Sunny. There are many things, but one of the things about Sunny that I aspire to be when I grow up is a great moderator, and that she is. She's really good at conflict diffusion, or just moderation in general of topics, pacing of content. So if you're looking for thought-provoking and engaging community, please check out Choice Driven Life. And if you can't find it or you have any questions, just DM me on Women's Group or DM Sunny, S-U-N-I, last name V-O-N, M-U-I, do I have that right? S-U-N-N-I, Sarah, no H, middle name, last name V-O-N-M-U-T-I-U-S. So you can do a search for her in Women's Group or on Facebook in general, but please check out Choice Driven Life and just show Sunny love, because she does a lot of work here in Women's Group for us that she doesn't have to, and it goes a long way, and her content tends to be some of the most engaging and gets a lot of conversation started that I certainly haven't been able to. So just want to give her a quick shout out, tell her I love her, and just invite you guys to check her out and her other projects on the side. The second shout out and shameless plug is going to be for my mommy. You know her, you love her, hopefully as well. Let's Dish with Linda Lou on Facebook, on Instagram as well. But she does post in group, and it's a cooking vlog as well. She does videos as well. But you can check out lindalouhamel.com, all one word, and subscribe to her cooking blog. It would mean the world. You will not get spammed, I promise you, but if you're just looking for great recipes and want to support a fellow member and the bitch that birthed this bitch, lindalouhamel.com or Let's Dish with Linda Lou on Facebook. I do want to give a very special thank you and shout out to Marissa Gagliardi, who, if you didn't see her video that she posted last week, it was her first video that she ever posted on group, and I'm so grateful to her because I've been begging bitches to do their own video intros or just videos in general since Jump Street, and I just want to thank her for taking the time out of her night to randomly in her pajamas and with her Christmas tablecloth and her Halloween backdrop in her summer kitchen to show us what she was cooking and what she was prepping. She's a vegan. She is very much invested in her veganism and her love of animals, and She's so not preachy, and she's just so delightful, and she's the queen of my heart, and you will fall in love with her too. So if you want to check out that video, you can do a search in group for any topic or any member in the search bar. I think if you're looking at the group, it's off to the left-hand side. But that will pull up her most recent video, or you can just go to our videos under photos and you'll find it there too. But if you want to check out her YouTube where she posts her cooking tutorials, it's under her full name, Marissa, M-A-R-I-S-S-A, and her last name is Gagliardi, G-A-G-L-I-A-R-D-I. She's got a couple of tutorials up there. Well, I shouldn't say tutorials, just cooking videos of stuff that she's made. And she does have a WordPress blog, which is Vegan Marissa, all one word. And I totally just invite you guys to engage with her on Facebook. She has her own Facebook page for her recipes in addition, and she could just really use some love and support from you guys, whether you're vegan or not, because she's been doing the same for you, me, and us since 2014, and well, for me personally, since like 1998, but sucks for you guys. And then also, last shout out of the night is going to go out to Nicole Smith Talbot. We want to send her special congratulations because she is newly married. This was obviously in fall of last year, but I just wanted to give her a special congratulations. You might know her as just a member of the group and my friend that I've also known since I was 16. She's a wonderful mother, she's a beautiful daughter, a wonderful sister, a beautiful just creature in general, and she's been there for me and for many of you since the inception of this group. And her mother, Pam Smith, who is a nutritionist and chef, host the cooking demos at the Food and Wine Festival in Orlando at Epcot, and they have since developed their own spice blend brand called P.S. as in Pam Smith flavors. You can find them on Facebook, you can find them on the web, but they have a cooking club, which I have been posting about quite regularly for the past year, and once a month they host cooking demos live from their kitchen, and we also watch them via live watch parties here in group. So I just wanted to invite you to check out the posts. There was one today about their upcoming cooking club, the recipes. Please check out their Facebook page, join the cooking club. You know, check out their site if you want to try their spices. The Mai Chai and the, I think it's this, is it the citrus lime chili? I always get this confused. But the Mai Chai, can I just tell you, you can put that on anything. You can put that on pumpkin pie, you can put that in your coffee, you can put that in your water. Marissa Gagliardi showed me that trick. These spices are going to give you life. But what's going to give you more life is just watching this mother and daughter just serve life to you, literally and metaphorically, on fucking plate. So shout out to Pam Smith, who I just love and has been in my life again since I was 16, and to Nicole. So those are your 4 shameless plugs. If you're watching live, please comment. Please let me know what you want to talk about. Otherwise, you're going to hear me go off on my tangent because those were just my plugs. I've got a couple of topics that I want to talk about. If there's anything you do, please just chat or comment rather in the live comments, and we can get a conversation going. But now that the shameless plugs are out of the way, one of the things I talked about in my last video, it wasn't live, it was an actual video, and if you want to see any of those, just go to the photo library, look at the videos. I got a hair up my ass now that Jordan Peele has decided to redo the Twilight Zone, to go back and rewatch the original series, which I've just seen like kind of random intermittent episodes over the course of my 36 years. So now I'm doing a full chronological season 1 through season 6 marathon situation. It's killing me slowly. Maybe it's killing me quickly. I don't know. But I'm on season 3. I'm halfway through. There's about 30 to 36 episodes per season. And one of the things I talked about in my last video was the season 1 finale called A World of His Own, which I had never seen. And boy, is it a treatise on gaslighting. I highly recommend you watch it. It will blow your mind to see what Rod Serling was able to comment on and project into mainstream sci-fi and pop culture narratives with such nuance, but like it really is a commentary on gaslighting and maybe just marriage in general. But I would love to hear feedback from anybody that's watched that episode and just have a conversation about it. I say all of that to say that I am also watching the new Jordan Peele Twilight Zone reboot, which is on CBS All Access, which I think you can access exclusively through Amazon Prime. They are 7 episodes in. There's been mostly misses for me, and I mean, obviously Jordan Peele, we know, is a genius from the 2 pictures that he's made thus far, Get Out and Us, and he's doing an amazing job. I just think a lot of it is a little like on the nose and a little too like, some of like the political commentary is a little too like obvious, or just feels a little too like you're shoving it down my throat. Like, I get it. It's not as nuanced as I'd like it to be, but I mean, I guess he's already spoiled us with his 2 movies. So it is what it is. If you guys have been watching the Twilight Zone reboot, let me know, comment, tell me if you are caught up, what episodes you liked, what you didn't like. But the episode that aired on Friday, which was called Not All Men, I wanted to talk about because it was an episode that involved topics pertinent to women's group, i.e. women, and their dynamics with men. And so that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit tonight. And I just watched it about an hour ago. I really liked it, but it wasn't, again, it felt a little like on the nose, and like I couldn't tell if, let me take that back. I haven't decided if like the camp and the cheesiness in it was like landed for me or not. I need to go back and rewatch it. Like on first watch, it felt like a little forced, and like the cheesiness of it felt just cheesy and not like elevated cheesy, if you will. I don't know, but basically the premise of the episode, without giving anything away, is that a meteorite or a meteor has landed on Earth, and the meteorites are affecting the men in a toxic manner. They are not affecting the women. They are making the men extremely aggressive. So all of the aggro negative aspects of heteronormative cis men are like amped up to like 100, and the women are experiencing the fallout of said meteorites. They do kind of definitely play on how it affects gender nonconforming men, or men that land somewhere else on the spectrum. So that was awesome, but the twist was, it was all right. But like, it was the first episode of this reboot that Jordan Peele, has done that talked about like gender issues, or specifically about women's issues, men's issues. So it bears bringing up. If you haven't watched it, I definitely think it's worth a watch. The acting is really good. It just felt, I guess, again, a little forced, but I don't know. There was a really good ball and chain, a play on like ball and chain, where he kind of subverts that. Well, Jordan Peele doesn't, but the writers do kind of subvert the notion of a ball and chain and kind of throw it back at you. But anyways, I highly recommend it. It's called Not All Men, and yeah, it's season 1, obviously episode 7 of the new Twilight Zone. Okay, let's talk about what we talked about in last video. Has anybody that's watching now, or that saw the last video, has anybody watched the Brene Brown special on Netflix? Because, hi Tista, hi Christine, hi Justine. I'm just seeing you guys if you're still there. Thanks for watching. Did anybody watch the Brene Brown thing? Because we talked about this in my last video, and the way Netflix kind of marketed it was such that it felt like it was going to be like a series, but it was just like a 1-hour special, which was fine. It was great. It was very much like Brene Brown 101. So if you're not familiar with her, it's obviously a great introduction, but that's what it was. So if you've read her material or seen YouTube videos or, you know, whatever, it some of the material was like, come on, let's next level. But it was still also very allegorical and very anecdotal too. So it was really good to just see her kind of just talk freely, and B, she cussed her ass off, which I was there for. But yeah, did anybody like it? Did anybody dislike it? Did it feel like, tell me. Hi Shaza, hi Doreen, hi Jenny Lee. Please comment if you guys want to talk about anything in particular. I'm just going to vomit out the mouth until my bottle is done or until somebody stops me. So the other thing I want to talk about Netflix-wise was Knock Down the House. I posted about it in group, a Netflix documentary. Well, it's not a documentary, but as far as categories go, it's a documentary about the women very recently that kind of swept the House and Congress, specifically Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The comments on the post that I read thus far is that most people really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. There are certainly issues that I take with some of the women and maybe some of their stances and just some of the ways that they're going about their agendas. But for the most part, I think it's a sweeping, giant leap forward for mankind and womankind. So at the end of the day, that's kind of what the documentary is about, and you know, what it's about in general, right? Is these bitches have kind of gotten a foothold for the first time, specifically women of color, specifically young women of color. So it is historic, and it's unprecedented, and it's beautiful, for better or worse. It's a tidal shift, and we need that. So if anybody has any opinions on that, if you've seen it, let me know. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Game of fucking Thrones. Let me take a minute here. I have notes. I have so many notes, y'all. So I actually am taking a little bit of an issue with some of the shit that's gone down in the final season. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it or you're not about it, sorry, so sorry, not sorry, don't know what to do. There will be spoilers. The feminism through the roof, I'm living for it. Like everything that they're doing right with Sansa, with Arya, specifically with Brienne, all of these things are landing for me. Melisandre, like, oh my god. Khaleesi, I love how Khaleesi, I love how Dany is now just like a hot mess and like can't be trusted, and it's just like doesn't know what she's doing, doesn't know what to do. Everyone's doubting her, she's doubting her. Like it's so good. It's like we've been like trained to like vote, like want to vote for her like for 5 seasons, and now it's just like now that her back is against the wall and she's in the final fucking battle of her life, she is ill-equipped. I think that's great writing. I think the Sansa arc, I'm here for it. Like anybody that shat on Sansa can suck a bag of dicks. I'm here for Sansa. Everybody's here for Arya, obviously. But what I don't understand, and if somebody wants to explain this to me, now is the time. Why in the fuck could she not escape a library full of D-list Walking Dead ass whites in the library, had to be rescued, but then she was able to fly out of the fucking ether, and Night King and his number 1 and his number 2 with the long sexy hair didn't see that coming, and then she was just able to just like surprise them and sneak up. Like, that does not work for me. Like, to me, that's like just bad narrative. Like, that's bad storytelling. Like, I need an explanation. Maybe we'll get one. I doubt it. But anyways, it just didn't like add it. It ruined the whole like moment of her like killing Night King. It was just like, this bitch literally couldn't escape from the library. But I get aggravated just thinking about it because it's just fucking shoddy storytelling. And you've done so well, D.B. Weiss and Mark Benioff. Like, why now? Like, why now are we gonna like shortcut shit? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Let's talk about Brienne. Lady Brienne getting knighted was life. Should have happened like 5 years ago, but here we are. I really, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, if you're on this train, I really, really, really fucking loved that Brienne and Jaime were in a romantic friendship, but they weren't like straight up into each other. Like, the tension was there, but it was like, no, we're just like friends, but like romantic friends, but we're not P and the G. You know, like, it was like, that didn't need to, and I was reading a really good Vulture article today where I don't know who the fuck the author was, but they nailed it. They were like, that relationship did not need to be consummated. Like, it was a romantic friendship. The respect is there, the journey is there. Like, it felt cheapened by the consummation and the sex, and like just kind of reducing it down to a like stereotypical like romantic sexual moment. Not that I don't want Brienne to get laid, but it just felt like so fucking stereotypical, and we didn't need it. She didn't need it. She deserves it, but the story didn't need it. And like, when Jaime pieces out to go like be back with fucking Cersei, whom I also love, it's like also a beautiful moment because she's not like a typical bitch. She's not like Julia Ormond in Legends of Fall. She's not like talking to Tristan and being like, I will wait for you. It was not that moment. Brienne was like, listen, you're better than this. You are not Cersei. You are not beholden to her. You're a good man. You have like become woke. Like, he has become enlightened and like a better man over the years through his own personal journeys and because of Brienne. So that whole like moment when he's just like fucking leaves Brienne to go be with fucking Cersei, that was great writing. But anyways, I would love to know if anybody like felt like Brienne and Jaime fucking was like a little bit of a letdown. I felt like it was. And please somebody tell me what the fuck Arya still, library can't get out of, needs to be rescued. Ed had to die. The Hound had to cut. Like, but White Night King and his, you know, right hand and left hand just snuck up on them. No. So let's talk about the Met Gala. I watch it every year. I've been following fashion. You wouldn't know it by looking at me. Since I was 15, I have over 1,000 issues of Vogue in my house that I've been collecting since I was in 11th grade. I have roughly the same amount of L's and Harper's Bazaars. I just love it. And I really wasn't thrilled about the idea of camp being the theme for the Met Gala, because that just like gives people the opportunity to like do like just that, like really cheap, campy, cheesy shit. And like, I just feel like the Met Gala is just elevation. And like, there were some people that like I feel really nailed it, and some people that like obviously didn't, but that's par for the course even when it's a regular Met Gala. But my favorite looks were Laverne Cox. I loved Elle Fanning's Malibu Barbie. I'm not a fan of Cardi B, but I loved Cardi B's outfit. Florence Henderson from Florence and the Machine and Gucci was a vision. Lady Gaga, suck a bag of dicks. It's the same thing. I don't care. It's the same shit all the time. Who else was I like living for with the Met Gala? Billy Porter obviously was amazing. I loved that RuPaul came in a suit with his husband. I'd love to know what you guys loved and hated. Who else did I love? I really liked Saoirse Ronan's Gucci gown. I really, really detest everything Katy Perry does in general, musically and fashion-wise. Who else was I living for? I'm not a Kardashian person, but I thought Kim Kardashian's play on Sophia Loren's wet look from, I forget what movie it is, was brilliant. And that was Terry Mugler who designed that for her. I thought that was fucking brilliant. I thought she looked amazing. Man, who else? There's somebody else that like took my breath away and it's escaping me and I didn't put it in my notes. Forgive me. But yeah, like who did you guys love and who did you guys hate at the Met Gala? It's fun to like judge people from afar while you're in a tank top and drinking white wine out of a tailspin mug. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was I was reading an article. If you guys don't know this about me already, I'm a huge Disney nerd. I was born and raised in Orlando, grew up going to Disney every week with my great-grandparents, my mom, among other theme parks, but specifically Disney it's in the blood, it's in the DNA. And I was on a Disney vlog because I just got reservations to Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, no big deal, double jealous. Anyways, I was on a Disney vlog and they were talking about how the oldest Cinderella story dates back to 800 BC. Well, I did a little bit of digging and that didn't seem to be true. The oldest, where are my notes? The oldest Cinderella story dates back to the 6th century BC. And please also correct me if you know better than this or what I've been able to dig up on the internet. But the oldest Cinderella story on record is Greek, and again, about 6th to 8th century BC. And her name is Rhodope, R-H-O-D-O. Oh wait, I said it wrong. Rhodopis, R-H-O-D-O-P-I-S. So essentially, she was a Greek courtesan who had her shoes stolen, both shoes stolen by an eagle, who then flies it all the way across the Mediterranean and drops it in the lap of an Egyptian king, who then comes back to find her, lives happily ever after. There's also, in the 9th century, a similar story in Chinese lore. And the fairy tale there is called, and again, I'm not good with my Chinese, Yeishan, Y-E space X-I-A-N, I think that's pronounced Shan, Weishan, please forgive me, in which a young girl named Yeishan is granted one wish from some magical fish bones, which she then uses to create a gown in the hopes of finding a husband. And then a monarch hears of her, comes back, and then, obviously we live happily ever after. But the European version, that everything that we pretty much are familiar with in the West has been adapted from, originated with a French story in the 17th century called Cenerentola. So that's spelled Cenerentola. Cenerentola. And it was actually published as a collection of short stories. And that's when we first see the appearance of a wicked stepmother and wicked stepsisters, and a single missing slipper. So it's a little bit darker, it's a little bit more tormented. You still have the monarch coming to rescue her. That is still there. And excuse me, I misspoke. That was the Italian. Cenerentola. That was 17th century Italian. And then the French Cendrillon by Charles Perrault specifically introduced the glass slipper and the pumpkin and the fairy godmother tropes, also in the 17th century. And then the Brothers Grimm kind of took it from there, and then we have, of course, the Disney version that we know today. So I was just curious if anybody has read or studied any of those older pre-medieval or pre-European versions of the story, specifically the Greek or the Chinese, or maybe something outside of those. Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. What else? Happy period. So I post about this in group whenever we have an event, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit more openly and casually and give you a little bit of context and history. Hi Carrie, hi Wendy, hi Pina, if you're still there. I wanted to just give you a little bit of history on how the Bay Area chapter of Happy Period got started, what Happy Period is, and talk to you about how you might want to get involved if you're interested. Essentially, Schmitty, aka Jordan Tofiggy, and I, back in 2015, were hanging out and bored and maybe a little bit depressed at the moment, and we were trying to figure out what to do with our spare time other than have wine and make karaoke videos for you guys. And women's group was in its early days, and I was looking for content to post, and I happened across an article about #Happy Period, specifically about Chelsea Von Chaz, who is the founder. And #HappyPeriod.org is a nonprofit here in the United States that serves the homeless or any underserved menstruators, be they women or trans men, because a lot of people may not realize that trans men still bleed or will still continue to bleed for a period of time until they fully transition hormonally. But specifically and more, let me take that from the top, more generally speaking, Happy Period is there to provide menstrual hygiene products to homeless menstruators in any community. And it was started in LA. Chelsea was a celebrity stylist, and she still does that on occasion, but found herself, walking along Skid Row in LA and was like, what the fuck, let me do something about this. And then here we are almost 6 years later, with close to 50 chapters, just, here in the United States, all grassroots of people like Schmitty and I, and others who decided to start something in their community. So essentially we emailed her and we were like, hey, do you have a Bay Area presence? She was like, no. Can we start one? She was like, yeah. We were like, how? She was like, figure it out. And so we just basically threw a big garden party, and people brought pads and tampons and underwear and whatevers, and we assemble them into kits, and then we hand them out to the encampments here in the Bay Area, Oakland, San Francisco, and the surrounding areas, Berkeley. Schmitty took a step back about 2 years ago, and since then I have my partner Julie Ann Mendoza, who is a queen who teaches full-time and manages to help me do this, and is actually hosting the first event that we've ever had at her home, which is this Saturday. So if you are local, if you are in Oakland or in the East Bay and want to come out, please see the event. It's pinned to the top of women's group. If you want to find out how you can donate products or monetarily, just comment or DM. But it's our 30th event since 2015. So we have grown from Jordan and I having a garden party in our backyard here at the Dome to having chapters in Oakland, San Francisco, Berkeley, Pleasanton, and we're supporting some surrounding areas, of course, but this is our 30th event, and we're super fucking excited. I'm so proud of Julie. I'm so proud of Aisha. I'm so proud of Addie. I'm so proud of Zena and Cameron and, oh God, fucking people. Obviously Schmitty for helping me start this, obviously. Just my ladies, my partners, and all things happy period. I'm so grateful to you, and we've been working to do what little we can to get these products into the hands of women and menstruators who need them. The reason I say all of this is if you're local, obviously please come out or please contact me if you want to support us. But more importantly, every community needs this. So if you are in Orlando, if you're in fucking bumfucked wherever, if you're in out of the country, wherever you are, I guarantee you, whether there's tents on your streets or if people are fairly confined to shelters, there's still people that need it. I was shocked, and I think Jordan and I were both shocked when we started this 5 years ago now, that, we counted ourselves as intelligent and feminist and shit. The only reason I found this is because I was looking for content to post here in women's group, and it had never crossed our minds what women do when they're homeless and they're bleeding. Like, you think of food, you think of shelter when you think of the homeless, and then your brain just kind of cuts off. It's like, okay, needs are met. So we were taken aback by that, and I think most people are when they first hear about this or think about it or it's brought into your awareness. It's like, oh, well, holy shit, yeah, like what would I do if I were having the worst cramps that I've ever had and I didn't have a pad, I didn't have a tampon, I couldn't even get into a public bathroom because I'd be arrested because I'm homeless, or, more than that, like, I have no money, do I have to steal and risk getting arrested to get these things? Do I have to choose sanitation and hygiene over food? I mean, these are things that people are dealing with exponentially by the day, especially in metropolitan areas like here in the Bay Area, because of gentrification, because the cost of living is just, we won't even go into that conversation, but the newly homeless are like, we're all one paycheck away. We're all one thing away from being in that same situation. So it's certainly taught me to count my blessings, but I still take everything for granted because it's also easy to forget your privilege. Anywho, yeah, I think it's just critical to be mindful that there are people in your backyard that are having to make these choices, specifically women, specifically trans men who, identify as male but are still experiencing their menses because they are not fully transitioned hormonally. And obviously, if you're homeless, you certainly don't have the money or resources for T and capital T to fully transition. So you will likely still be bleeding. So if you are looking to get involved in something like this, and Happy Period is certainly not the only nonprofit that does this work. There's others across the country and across the world. Dignity Matters comes to mind just off the top of my head, but there are so many nonprofits across the country. and some that might be more, rooted in closer to where you are than maybe Happy Period is, that you could reach out to or Google, that are providing similar services. So I would just implore you and encourage you to educate yourself on it, get involved, whether it's giving any excess, feminine hygiene products you have to local homeless shelters, battered women's homes, sober living homes, or just if you happen to see a woman on the street, maybe keep some excess stuff in your trunk. And if you have homeless that you drive by on a regular basis, just have some handy where you might be able to say, hey, may I offer you such and such. These things are very, they're not the most, highly donated items to these shelters, again, because we tend to think of food and shelter. And what is donated goes very quickly. But one of the things that I learned a couple years ago, which I would not have known or thought of had I not become involved in this project, is that there are many, many, many people with many, many reasons who have many reasons not to go to homeless shelters, whether to sleep or to get access to food or resources. A lot of that has to do with sobriety. If people are trying to stay sober, they tend to stay away from shelters because there's a lot of drugs and access to such in shelters. Not that there isn't on the streets, but that can be one of the variables, in addition to just lack of access, distance, or the fact that demand is too high. So just kind of hand-to-hand distribution has become the model for Happy Period, such that we know that we're at least providing said person with a month's supply of whatever it may be: pads, tampons, baby wipes, so the basics. So yeah, if you are interested in getting involved, I can tell you, whether it's Happy Period or you starting something in your community or reaching out to another already established nonprofit that does similar work, please reach out. Monetary donations are always welcome, but product donation, whether you're menopausal or you're pregnant and you have a shit ton of stuff in your closet or under your bathroom sink that's just been sitting there, like, donate it, don't throw it out. Whether they're pads, tampons, cups, reusables, I would say if you have reusables like cups or Flex or anything that's like a cloth pad or things of that nature that you have access to or want to donate, I would say reserve those to your shelters versus giving those out on the street, because there's a certain level of education that goes along with using a cup for the first time, as an example. But more than that, in order to keep a cup hygienic, you have to have access to a bathroom. And if you're homeless, that's something that we take for granted. So disposable items like pads and tampons are, and unfortunately, a necessary evil. So there are companies like Cora. There's so many. None is coming to my brain at this moment, but there are so many companies that are providing and developing organic, pesticide-free, plastic-free, BPA-free, pads and tampons that are great for all of us to be using. Because if you actually look at some of the shit that's in what we put inside of ourselves on a daily basis, it's fucking horrifying. See Women's Group for further articles if you really want to freak yourself the fuck out. But if we can get items like that, like the higher quality items, that's ideal. But at the end of the day, disposables are more, unfortunately, realistic for use if you're homeless versus a reusable item. For that reason, you may not have access to keep it clean and hygienic on a regular basis. Yeah, so I've been talking for type 45. That's all I want to talk about for right now. Hit me back. I want to talk about Cinderella. I want to know your thoughts on that. Want to hear about Knock Down the House and Brene Brown on Netflix. Want to hear about your Twilight Zone moments. I need to hear about your Game of Thrones thoughts, specifically about Arya and Brienne. Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you if you guys watched live tonight. Thank you for your comments, and I will probably do more lives. Obviously, this was just like a spur of the moment dry run, being late at night. Most people are in bed, but I will continue to post video content. But I really, really, really want to implore you, invite you guys to post your own video content on Women's Group, whether it's a quick intro, whether it's you fucking off with your friends, you talking about something that's important to you. We don't care. We just want to know you and see you, and what better way to do it than a video? So thank you guys again. I love you big to the sky. Thank you so much for making the space what it is, for being respectful, and just whether you've been here since day one or it's night one for you. Thank you for taking the time to engage and support other women, because that's the bedrock of what has been, what is, and I think what especially is coming. So again, love you guys big to the sky. Have a good night.